Most people understand. To be healthy and to live a high-performance life, we have to have a highly functional core. But most people just aren't training their core effectively. In today's video, I'm going to show you what your core is designed to do and the types of exercises and training that you should be performing to get the most out of it. Hi guys, welcome back to Stout Sport Performance. I'm Austin Stout, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how to develop and train for a highly effective core. The biggest mistake that people make when it comes to training their core is training their core through movement patterns. And what I mean by that is actually producing motion through their core. So think about crunches, think about cable crunches, think about lateral side bends that people do with dumbbells. These might be good exercises if you're a bodybuilder, but if you're a person that wants to have a core that's effective for performance, so if you're an athlete or you're somebody that performs in any kind of competitions, a recreational sport, or if you're somebody that just wants to be a healthy, well-functioning individual, these types of exercises aren't going to be good for you. So we're going to think about our core primarily as a place that resists motion, and an effective core is going to be one that resists motion and also helps us transfer energy throughout the body. Okay, so we're shifting from this paradigm of thinking that a strong core is a guy with a six-pack who can perform a lot of crunches, and we're moving towards a scientifically backed paradigm where our core is designed primarily to resist motion and transfer energy throughout the body. So in your training, I want you to think about doing three things when it comes to your core training. We're going to try to resist extension and flexion. We're going to try to resist lateral flexion, and we're going to try to resist rotation. And I'm going to show you a few different exercises that you can perform to help try to train these concepts. The theme that they all have together is we're resisting motion. We're trying to maintain position. We want to start by trying to train our ability to resist flexion and extension. A really basic way to do this is through different types of plank variations. Now I'm going to say right off the bat, if you can perform a high quality plank for over 30 seconds, it's time to find an exercise that's more difficult. We can think about controlled rollouts with a barbell or a wheel, things of that nature. We can think about different types of exercises on a yoga ball. They're going to train the same concept, but we're going to make those exercises a little bit more difficult. Planks are something that we're going to perform to work on our breathing when we're performing core exercises and training, and to help give us an ability to initially train anti-extension and anti-flexion. So we're going to perform one here. We're going to get into a push-up position on the ground. We're going to squeeze our glutes and we're going to squeeze our core, making sure our hips are in a neutral position. We have a neutral pelvic position. We're pushing our hands away from the ground, and we're going to get as tight as we possibly can. Now, while we're here for 30 seconds, we're going to work on our breathing. We're going to try to breathe in some air through the nose, and we're going to try to fill a little bit of air into the stomach when we do that, and then we're going to breathe it out quickly through our mouth. This action that we're performing with our breathing is actually going to create a reciprocal muscular action of our deep abdominal muscles, which is going to provide us with more stability. So that's why we want to breathe that way. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to train for anti-extension and anti-flexion through our plank. And when we've gotten good at that, we've developed a base for this type of core training. Then we're going to transition into performing some anti-lateral flexion type exercises. So you can think about this by taking a kettlebell or a dumbbell. We're going to hold it in one hand. We're going to pull our shoulder back. We're going to get into a nice neutral position throughout the body, and we can either perform certain types of carries with this weight, or we can perform static holds. And the goal is going to be to continue with this breathing pattern that we started in the plank. And we're going to try to resist this added resistance and avoid this lateral flexion that I'm demonstrating here. We're just going to try to maintain a high quality posture. So when this has gone well, then the last thing that we're going to do when we talk about training for anti-motion is perform some anti-rotational exercises. So I'm going to perform that here with this red band. We're going to perform what's called a pilaf press. So we're going to tie our feet into the ground. We're going to get nice and tight in our core, getting as tight as we possibly can, pulling the shoulders back. We're going to continue to breathe as we've been breathing, trying to get a little bit of air, sipping some air in through the nose, into our stomach, and breathing out. And we're going to fight this rotation that the band's going to want to try to pull us in. The band's going to try to pull us in this direction by pressing the arms directly out in front of us and returning them to the chest, keeping the hips level, keeping the core tight. We're going to fight that rotation that the band's going to try to pull us in. Now, eventually, it makes sense to train our core for rotation because we do rotate throughout the body and our core, of course, is going to be involved in that. However, what I would say is we have to understand that this lower portion of our core, when we think about the lower back, when we think about where our abs are, when we think about where our obliques are, this area of the body is always primarily there to resist motion and also to transfer energy. So even when we're learning to rotate, our core is going to stay stacked with our hips, meaning that if our hips rotate in one direction, our core is going to follow one stacked on top of the other. So one of the things we can do to start working on rotation exercise, we can take a band like the one I have here. We're going to screw our feet into the ground. We have our hips directly underneath our core. And now we're going to rotate our hips towards the band, meaning our core is going to rotate with us as well. And then we're going to rotate to the other direction. So you can see there's some clear rotation here in my upper body, where my T-spine and shoulders are. And there's also some clear rotation in my hips, but no rotation in my core. My core is staying stacked with my hips and simply moving with my hips as I rotate through this range of motion. So the biggest takeaway that you guys should be taking from this video is that our core is made to resist motion and we need to train it as such. We're going to train it by first training anti-extension and anti-flexion through plank type exercises. Then we're going to train it to resist lateral flexion. So think about single arm kettlebell holds and carries. And then we're going to think about anti-rotation, fighting against rotation within the body, and we can perform different types of peel-off press variations to train our core's ability to resist rotational forces. And when we can do those things well, then we can start thinking about including our core into rotational exercises. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please follow and subscribe for more training content, and we'll see you next time.